Welcome to CompTIA Private Limited e-learning program of hardware networking. We are going to discuss about Windows patch management. What is patches? Patches are software and operating system program updates that is created for addressing the security vulnerabilities within a program or adding some enhancements in the applications. So patches is a small set of programs written by the manufacturers. For operating systems, we'll get operating system patches. For applications, we'll get application related patches. So here we are going to discuss mostly about the operating system related patches and the process how we go for implementing the patches for endpoints. The endpoints may include the desktops, laptops, servers, and the other devices. So here the main focus is given for the patches because if you are not doing the patches regularly on the machines or endpoints, it becomes vulnerable. Each and every month, Microsoft is doing a research and finding out the gaps, and for arresting those gaps, they are releasing the patches. So this is a fixed schedule what Microsoft is following for a very long time, and all the organizations are following this as a baseline for implementing the patches for their endpoints. So patches are very critical. We cannot ignore any even single month patch, or even we cannot ignore any single mission from the patching of the endpoints. So we'll be deploying the operating system through WDS or any other automated systems. So what we used to do before we go for rolling out quarterly ones or monthly ones based on the efficiency of the system. So they will add it in the existing image, and they will roll the images, overall OS images. Whereas if for the older machines, the patches will be pushed by SSM server or any other automated systems, and it will be live. So whenever the machines are coming online, it will be able to get the patches from the servers. So say for example, I did the imaging, OS imaging by the month of January. So the next quarter only, the image will be updated with the latest patch. Meanwhile, what will happen for the machines deployed during January, February, March, and all, before the new image is getting prepared, right? The old machines, it will be getting the latest patches from the SSM server or any other automated systems. So the monthly, this is the process happening in all the organizations. So this is being discussed well with patch management in all the organizations. The IT infrastructure team holds the responsibility of patching the endpoints with the current patches. So we have patches for non-Microsoft products like network switch, firewall, or other applications like database and SQL. So a lot of applications are available, right? Adobe .NET framework. So all the products are available. So it will be happening based on the vendor's frequency. Maybe Cisco is giving the patches or firmware upgrade yearly once, or during the end of life of their product, they will be so mentioning that and providing the updated version for the software. So those type of patches will happen in a different frequencies. Application patch like Adobe Acrobat or Java may happen quarterly once, but this Microsoft patch, it is happening monthly basis, and there is a separate process followed for implementing these patches to the endpoint. So all this together we call it as a patch management for the endpoints. So here we'll see about the Microsoft patch management. So it is a process of uh, downloading the patches and testing the patches to all the endpoints in the test environment, and then rolling the patches into the production environment. So all this together, it is a patch management. So we'll be following the change process for the test environment as well as production environment, and we'll monitor the deployment as well as we'll observe the nature of the system after the patch is implemented, because sometimes once the patch is implemented, system may go crash or may malfunction. So we need to understand the type of issues, and we'll not ignore or find the alternate ways for fixing the issues. Some of the operating system versions or the hardware environment may not be compatible for some of the patches. So Microsoft will be giving the remediations for that as alternate patch, so we can implement that patches for the affected systems. So this is the patch management followed for all the organizations. How Microsoft is releasing the patches. Now we'll see more focus on Microsoft patches. So Microsoft is releasing large number of patches because Microsoft company has multiple operating system, right? They stopped releasing patches for Windows XP because it is being already announced as end of support, end of life together. So they will not release any patches for old products. Now they are informing about Windows 7, so they will also stop the patches for Windows 7. Now they are releasing the patches for Windows 10 for all the endpoints, and apart from that, it is there for Windows servers, right? All the versions of servers it is available. So they are releasing the patches. So now for Windows 10, they started following the different types of patch management process. Instead of updating the patches, they are updating the OS build itself 6 months once, and that is valid for 18 months, and it is being a cycle, right? So every 6 months they'll be releasing a separate build, and that is like a service pack that will be released as a bundle of packages, bundle of softwares, whatever it is there for 6 month individual patches, they will release it as a service pack that is called as a build. So we'll have to go for updating that build every 18 months. That is valid for 18 months. After 18 months, Microsoft will not support your product. So it becomes mandatory that we have to install and update our operating system to the latest build at least 6 months once. So this is the Windows 10 concept currently being followed in all the organizations. Yeah, about the monthly patches. So we call it as a Patch Tuesday because Microsoft is releasing the patches on every second Tuesday for all the products. It is a desktop or a server, they release the patches. So we'll be getting the patches or downloading the patches from Microsoft website and taking it to the testing environment. So each of the patches will be consisting of fixing of issues for one of the application or some of the applications, or fixing the loopholes, or fixing the vulnerabilities, or fixing the issues. Sometimes, right, we are getting system malfunctioning, maybe system repeatedly rebooting for specific environment or specific hardware. Okay, so in that case we go for updating the patches, the issue is getting automatically resolved. Okay, so this is how the patch is getting downloaded from Microsoft. So importance of patch management. So regular patch updates for the endpoint is very important to get rid of any vulnerabilities from application as well as from operating system. So vulnerabilities are very common now. It is not only a kind of virus vulnerability where we used to think like any virus will come and hit our environment. Sometimes if it is a loophole where the particular ports are kept open for some other operations, and that becomes a gateway for the hackers to get into our environment. To protect it from the environment, we need to have some kind of patches, so that is also there for a security purpose. So our to have more secured environment, we have to have latest patches in our endpoints, all the endpoints, right? So suppose you have 1,000 machines available, so I push the patches via SSCM server, and I need to ensure that all the 1,000 servers are all the 1,000 endpoints. It may be inclusive of server, desktop, laptop, everything, right? I call it as a endpoints as a common term. So we have lot of endpoints available, so we need to ensure the endpoints are updated with the latest patches, right? Maybe within a week's time once I roll out. So we can avoid this kind of problems. So if it is not happening for some of the machines, take the machines out and find out why it is not happening. Fix it, the SSM client or whatever the client you are using for getting the patches. Fix the issues with the client. If the machine is shut down, user is on long leave, or there is a hardware issue, the machine is not booting. So all those issues we can fix it once for a time, and ensure that it is kept online and getting the patches. Suppose if laptops are not connected for a long time and kept for some other emergency purpose, so we have to take the laptops out and connect it to the network and update the patches, and keep it back into the safety lockers, so something like that. So at any cost we should not ignore any of the endpoints from the patching cycle, right? So we'll have to run the report and find out the missing machines and update the patches. This is the responsibility of the Windows server admin as well as desktop administrator. So server admin will give list of machines which is having the problem, and probably the desktop administrators will go and fix the issues with the machines. So next month it should happen automatically. Again, if there is any issue, we can go for a manual process. So but this is helping to improve the security in the environment. And second is the associate productivity. So because of missing patches, there may be a possibility like a system may go for a crash or a malfunction, and because of that the user have to spend more time in fixing the issues, right? Sometimes you have to reinstall the OS and do all the data transfer and everything, right? It may take hardly 1 or 2 days time to fix the issues and get the data back with the environment. Probably if they have a backup available in the tapes, they can restore it from the tapes. It will take some more time. So hardly 1 or 2 days it is time taking. So obviously we are consuming most of the time from the end users, and they are not able to work in the desktop or laptop. So that is the reason it is impacting the productivity of the resources. And future updates, operating system will be having new features enabled enhancement carried out. So if you are not installing those patches, definitely that features will not be enabled for the particular endpoints. So we will not be able to utilize the features available in the Windows operating system. Compliance, this is being treated as a security compliance all over the environment across the company branches. So the security team will be taking a compliance report and measuring the non-compliance. Normally they will fix like 95% and 98 percentage, but practically we should be having 100 percentage for maintaining the patch compliance. So that is a very important aspect, and industry wise it is very important to maintain the patch compliance. And the next point is BYOD, that is bring your own device. So nowadays the organizations are going with a new concept called BYOD, bring your own device. It means that instead of companies spending money on the infrastructure for maintaining and other stuff, so company will give some money to the employees. They will buy their own devices like mobile laptops and etc., and they will bring it to the office for working in the office. So if they are not having the latest patches, then definitely that is going to create a problem. So we need to have that machines enrolled with our environment, so that we supply patches to that environment endpoints also. And this is the starting of operation, so it is not being followed across all the organization. um, So if at all organization encourages on the BOD concepts, then definitely we need to have strong patch controls, so that the endpoints which are all brought into the office, it is being protected with the latest patches and secured. So this is the patch management cycle what we follow normally in the all the organizations, and it is being strictly monitored by the security team for ensuring that these operations are regularly happening and all the endpoints are updated. So if you see the workflow diagram, so first is Microsoft is announces the patch availability on every second Tuesday. That is a patch Tuesday, right? We discussed. And system administrators download the patches and share it with the security team for validation, because security team will be validating which of the patches need to be implemented, which can be ignored based on our environment, because we are not going to use all the software, right? Microsoft will be relatedly provide the patches for all the applications, so we can ignore those things. But the critical patches, yes, we have to install it. So once security team is validating the patches for any OS wise or approvals, it will be given to the endpoints. So some of the patches may not be required for servers, so we can ignore, or some of the patches not required for endpoints, we can ignore. So apart from that, they provide the approval for a set of patches that has to be implemented. So system administrators, they create a change request as per the ITL process, right? So we'll have to create a change request for implementing the patches in the test server. We'll have a test environment, test bed available with the same kind of environment like your production. So we'll be testing in set of desktops, set of laptops, and set of servers for ensuring that all the patches are deployed successfully, and it is functioning properly without any kind of reboot or any performance related issues or any crashes, right? So we'll have to monitor it for quite some time, and then we can conclude that the test is success. Then we can proceed, like we can go for creating a change request for production implementation, and it will be going for a CAB process. So for the test environment also, it will follow the CAB process. Without CAB approval, we cannot do any change implementation. So for test also, CAB process is there, and once CAB is approving, then the OS team or SCCM team is creating a package for list of patches and giving it to the SCCM team. So SCCM team will be pushing the endpoints to all the pushing the patches to the endpoints. So I'm mentioning here SCCM software. I'll give you a list of other softwares which are all used for patch management. So whatever it is, it will be given to the Windows administrators. The Windows administrator will create a package, bulk softwares as a package, and they'll be pushing it to the endpoints. Okay. So we'll have to observe the rollout of patches, what is the percentage of covered, and what is left out. And the patches will be mentioned as a non-ending, right? So the publishing will be online, so they will not take off the publish. So it means that whenever the machine is coming online, the patches will be there. So it will push it to the endpoint and it will get updated. So that is a way of maintaining all the machines with the latest patches. And after observing the sequence for a week's time, it depends on the company, maybe 2 days or 1 week also there. So we'll have to ensure that maximum coverage is happening with our environment, maybe 95%, 98% maximum coverage. So once that coverage is reached, then we can conclude and close the change request as a post implementation report. The change request is getting closed, but parallel, we'll be monitoring for 100% completion on a separate note. So system administrators will be monitoring this activity till all the patches are getting completed. Sometimes the troubleshooting part will be leading to formatting the system, because OS level we don't know what is the issue and solution is not available. So we'll have to go for formatting the endpoints and bring it a fresh copy of operating system. So likewise, we do a lot of troubleshooting for fixing the issues and ensuring that the patch completion is 100% for all the machines. So we have different methods available. One is the manual method and the other is the automated solutions, what we use to follow SCCM in a larger scale. So in case of manual method, so patches deployment, right? So in case of manual method, patch deployment will happen mission by mission. So we'll have to go, we'll have to open a share folder where the server share folder is available and patches are installed, and people will be just double clicking and installing the patches. So what happens here is the number of machines is less, like 50 or 100, and going for automated solution may be costlier. So what company suggested is to go for a manual process. So again, they will follow the test environment first and then the production environment, but still the process is the patches will be downloaded and kept in the share folder of a server. So I'll go to the endpoint, I'll open that share folder, I'll install the patches one by one. Maybe I have 10 or 15 packages, right? 15 softwares, 15 exe files. I can run those exe files and complete the patch installation. So this is recommended only for the smaller environment, not for a bigger environment, because it is a time consuming process. So while doing this activity, there is a possibility that I can miss any of the missions because I don't have the reporting facility enabled in the manual process. So I don't know if I miss any one mission while installing it. If I skip any missions, right, it will take more time for me to find out which mission is missed, or I'll have to go again and check whether in the programs and features whether the latest patch is installed or not. So this manual method we cannot generate the reports, and finding out the failure mission is also a difficult problem. So if I install any other patches wrongly, the recommended patches are there, but unknowingly I have installed one of the patches, then definitely it will crash my computer or anything, right? So this has to be avoided. So manual process, yes, we can go ahead for a small number of systems, small number group of systems, right? But for larger groups, we have other third-party softwares instead of going to SSCM software. You can see on the budget side, and whichever automated solution is possible, we can implement it. Maybe if I have 500 machines or more than 100 machines, I will suggest to go for a automated solution, any kind of automated solution for patch implementation. So what is the advantage of automated solutions? Patches are pushed and to the endpoint by the SCCM server or any other automated third-party software. So if the mission is online or if the mission is coming online, like users are coming and switching on the system for a particular day, immediately the patch is getting installed in the particular endpoint. Nobody need to trigger anything, right? So it will get automatically installed. And once the installation is completed from the SCCM server or third-party server, we'll be able to take a report anytime about the progress, right? So today I push the software patches. So after 2 days, I'll find out how much is covered, 40%, 60%, whatever it is. I'll just check the status of it and I'll be publishing it to the management team. So we are able to take the reports anytime in the network, and we can take the failure missions in the network and do the remediations activity and find out the reasons why the missions are not getting updated with the patches. And for any security audits, we'll be able to generate a report, and it is necessary to maintain a monthly reports in a proper manner so that if anybody is coming and asking what is the status of previous months, then we should be able to provide the reports to them. The SCCM collection which is created in the SCCM server is kept active. So any machine is installed, that patches will be pushed to the endpoints and ensure that the latest month patch is being installed into the endpoints properly. So this is the difference between your manual method and automated solutions. So if you take the applications, right? So I discussed like Adobe Acrobat or Java or the SQL or Oracle database kind of applications. So again, we can go for a manual method or the centralized patch process, where we'll have to find out whether the updates are available for the manufacturers. Like I'll go and check whether Oracle has latest software update. Cisco has, we'll discuss only about the missions related here, whereas not the network components. So Java or Adobe. So the application manufacturers have the latest package available, latest software available. So the patches we'll download from the vendor website, and again we'll push it to the endpoints. Now we'll have to choose the endpoints whichever is having the software, right? So if it is an Oracle machine, we'll have to find out the Oracle machine, create as a collection, and send it to those machines only, right? So it has to be installed only in the machines where the software application is available, not for all the endpoints. So small companies, what they used to do in the endpoints, desktop or laptop, they will choose to notify any updates available from the manufacturer. So Adobe is going to have some software available ready. So immediately the user will get a pop-up or alert or mail. So user can go for automatic update because the application is enabled like that. Now what we have to do in the case of bigger corporate environments, this will be stopped. So they cannot have this kind of options are enabled. End of life software. So some of the softwares from the vendor, they will announce the software life is going to end, and after this announcement end of life, they'll be giving some time period, right? Like 6 months or 1 year. Before that, we'll have to ensure that we'll have to upgrade the software to the next version. If it is 3.0, we'll have to go for 4.0, something like that. So otherwise, no. Once the software life end of life is over, the duration, whatever timing given is over, the manufacturer, the vendor will not give any support for the product. Suppose I have an issue with my Oracle database. If I call the vendor for support, they will immediately say this version we are not supporting. Please go for upgrading the version. Otherwise, we cannot do any kind of troubleshooting. Okay. So that is why we have to go for upgrading the software immediately based on the notification from the vendors. So having unsupported software is always risk in the environment, because if there is any issue, vendor is not going to support the product, and if there is any vulnerability, going to get affected immediately in the product. So always to have the latest applications installed and have the latest updates available in the particular software. So CISA recommends all the users and administrators to retire all the EOL products, whether it is hardware or software. EOL means it has to be retired. That is a common thing we have. So best practices for patch management. So following the process for patch implementation in test environment, first we have to do the testing. So all the planned patches should be updated on monthly basis, and we need to have a proper tracking. The reporting, we'll have to ask for the proper report from the system administrators and ensure that we achieve 100 percentage. Otherwise, we take action on the particular machine. Worst case, we have to format the machine and ensure that it gets the patches automatically from the server. So using the automated solution, ensuring 100% completion, keeping a good rollback plan in case of failures or the patch installation. Suppose after doing all the testing, suddenly some issue is happening. Once I roll out the patches, I'm getting a kind of a blue screen error, or system utilization goes high. So we used to do a troubleshooting in such a way that we check for latest patches install. We uninstall the patches randomly one by one, and once the issue is getting fixed by uninstalling the patches, we just make a note of it, and we'll try to do the uninstallation of that particular patch in the other machines. So we'll come to the conclusion this particular patch is creating environmental issue, and we'll check in the Microsoft website whether is there any issue reported by other vendors or other companies. So otherwise, no, Microsoft will be releasing the alternate patch for that particular number, or they will give the remediation also if there is any issue reported by other manufacturers, other organizations. So likewise, we take the report and verify for the particular issues. So keeping the latest inventory of the systems updated in CMDB, that will help in validating the endpoints are updated. Same, I am adding 500 machines. So my CMDB should be updated with 500 machines. Otherwise, no, I may not know. My SCCM server shows only 1000 machines, 500 machines are additionally added. So my reporting will go wrong. So always the system inventory should be latest. The system administrator or server administrator should be interacting with the asset management team and get the latest details about the assets available, and ensure that all the things are included covered in the SCCM server or the automation server, and the patches are getting deployed. So instead of focusing on latest zero-day exploits, work on implementing proper patch management cycle. So last minute rush should not be there. So anything going critical and we have to install immediately, something like that. So instead we have to go for regularly installing the patches, so that will solve lot of our critical issues or security related problems. So steps for updating the desktops, laptops, Windows Update. The basic steps what we follow in Windows operating system. Just go to start and search for the update, type update, and select for Windows Update and check for the updates. see whether it is having the latest dates, right? Definitely there'll be timestamp available. If it is a latest month, we can just proceed. Now it is a November month, so we can check for any October month patches available, right? November month patch will be on the way to the endpoints. So we can check at least you have October month patch. Click for the check for updates and see whether the machine is trying to get the update from the um, latest server. Normally, if you take your residential computers in residence, right? Um, home-based PCs, laptops. So we used to get patches from the Microsoft directly, right? The automatic updates are enabled, and once the patch is available, it gets downloaded in my laptop or desktop, and I go for rebooting based on the installation completion. So that becomes more or less the personal thing, right? So we don't know whether it is being done or not. But in case of corporate environment, what we do, we disable the automatic updates because it should not get the patches directly from the internet in the corporate connections. So we disable the automatic update option, and then we used to push it via the automated solution, maybe SSCM server or any other third-party server, and then we install the updates into the endpoints. So during this particular time, when the patch is getting deployed, downloaded, and deployed, the installation is in progress, we should not restart the laptop, shut down the laptop, or if it is a laptop, the battery should not get drained. So we should ensure the battery is connected to the power source and it is available, and desktops are connected to the UPS power supply. So the installation is getting completed. Sometimes, no, if it is getting interrupted in the middle, and that is creating a problem for the particular endpoint. So we'll have to go for last known good configuration in the desktop so that we can remove the patches, or we can go to a safe mode option in the endpoint, but that is by pressing the F8 during the booting of the operating system. We can go to safe mode and uninstall the patches installed in the endpoints, the latest 2 or 3 patches, right? You can see the timestamp for the current month. Whatever patches are installed, we have to uninstall it and see whether it is coming out of the problem. So that is how we fix the issues with the patch related endpoints. So whatever we discussed now, it is being provided as a screenshot. In case of Windows 10, right? So we go for Windows key and types updates. So you'll get check for update option. By clicking on the check for update option, you will get whether Windows is updated or not. So it gives whether the system patch update is completed and restart is required or not. So once restart is done, you will see a green kind of system update that no patch requirement for the particular endpoint. So it is saying like pass updates for 7 days. So if it is a desktop or laptop used in residence, we can choose this option. But normally in the corporate environment, these options will be disabled, because users should not choose these kind of updates schedule. So once it is available for the endpoints, it has to be deployed into the endpoints immediately. So we cannot give this option. So normally we'll be disabling this option. So otherwise, what is this option available? Pass updates for next 7 days. So 7 days, the patch will not get installed. Change active hours. So it means that during this active hours, the patch will not be installed, because we are all working right in the endpoint. So system will not try installing the patches during this time. View update history, so you can find out what is available, previously installed everything. You can find out from that. And advanced options for settings, controlling the settings, or configuring the server settings, you can go to that advanced option. And sometimes the patches, suppose you have 5 or 6 patches, right? Sometimes the patch requires a reboot. So if it is rebooting and coming back, it will continue the patch installation, so we cannot stop that again. So hardly it will take 30 to 40 minutes for Windows 10 patches. So we'll have to see whether the automatic reboot is getting completed and your system screen is stable. So till that time, we should not disturb the patch update activity. So other third-party softwares I mentioned. So normally we used to have SSCM server for the corporate kind of environment, bigger environment, we go with the SCCM server. But otherwise, we have other third-party softwares available. Based on the budget availability and a company's requirement, you can choose it. So we have SolarWinds Patch Manager that can be replacing your SCCM or WSCS server. So through this, you can configure the patch updates and you can push the patches for the endpoints. The first one is a SolarWinds Patch Manager. The second one is Shavlik. So this is also a good patch management software. This includes patch management for other third-party OS like Mac OS or Linux OS, right? So that also you can do a patch management through this particular software. So SCCM is the monopoly product, right? Only for Microsoft products they used to release the patches, and we can push it for only Microsoft related devices. LANDesk Patch Manager, yes, this is also a good software. Manage Engine Desktop Central. This is comparatively low in cost and can be utilized for small to mid range of organizations. GFA LandGuard. This is also a good software for managing the. Normally, this GFA LandGuard is specifically they release a lot of softwares for network management and monitoring tools. So they are also coming up with the patch management software. So we have come to the end of the topic. So this is how the patch management is being processed in all the organizations. Being a desktop administrator or a server administrator, so it is the responsibility of them to ensure that all the machines are getting updated with the latest patch. And reporting function is very important, and we'll have to ensure that all the machines are pulled via report and current status is published. And we'll have to save it for future reference because it is required for any security audit. Yeah. We are coming to the end of the session. Thank you very much.